I got the flow. I'm about to pull up. It's wishful kindness. And I've been waiting so long. Now I gotta resurface. And we about to talk stop. All the bread and we burn it. Cause I've been feeling cool time. I've been fucking cool time. Turn up.
Welcome back to another week of Mid-State Sports Corner. We actually got a big week ahead of us here. We're actually going to start. This is the start of now 2 episode drops a week. Now that football's starting up, we got hockey right around the corner. So watch out for us. Now we're going to be doing a drop on Wednesday, and we'll be doing our normal drop on Friday as well. So welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. We hope obviously tune into both episodes a week now. So thank you everyone. And we had a great showing on Saturday at the game. We'll get into that a little bit. And so, Brett, how you feeling this week?
I'm feeling pretty good. We had a really, really good Saturday, I think, for our first foray into, getting our show out there on game day. We got partnered up with Winged Helmet, which was really awesome. That was kind of a last-minute drop there. Thank you to everybody that came by to check us out because of them. Thank you, Chris, again, for really looking forward to getting into it as the season goes along.
Yeah, we'll jump into the Michigan game here in just a couple minutes. We'll do our normal, just a little back and forth talk here just to start it up. So, I know we've been talking about it quite a bit. We do have hockey season right around the corner. We are the Sunday Beer Leaguers, of course, as well. And we do want to take a quick moment. Obviously, it's a sad time for the hockey community. So we want to take a quick little 10-second moment of silence for Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. So if everyone would join in with me on that, thank you all. And rest in peace, Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. A true tragedy. Obviously, Johnny is a star in the NHL, so and a very, very good person from all like this feedback that we've heard you've seen on social media as far as like other NHLers and all the other stuff. So it is a terrible, terrible loss, and so rest in peace to those two for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously you'd never wish it to happen to anybody, but obviously happening to somebody like Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau was just a real shame. I just can't imagine what that family's going through at the moment. It's absolutely awful, and for it to happen the way that it happened, it's a real shame, and hopefully, with all the contributions and stuff that you're seeing through the GoFundMes and things like that, it can try to make at least the transition period a little more palatable. But it's never going to discredit the amount of loss that family has now suffered.
Yeah, like I said, it's a tough time for the hockey community to see something like that, especially with season right around the corner. So obviously we send our thoughts and prayers to the Gaudreau family. Obviously from Mid-State Sports Corner, we are very sorry for your loss.
And to honor the Gaudreaus, we have sticks out on the porch here of the studio. Hockey stands together. It doesn't matter what league you're in, doesn't matter where you're from or when you played. The hockey stands together.
A cool tradition that I've seen pop up in the last few years. So obviously we did take part in it, and if you are a hockey player or anyone that just has a hockey stick laying around the house, please put that out on your front porch, wherever you can. Obviously, it's a very nice memorial for them as well.
Now I want to kick off with saying before we get into some of our other topics here, we've had a pretty eventful week or so. If for those that have checked it out, got a chance to see Derek Barnes and Brock Wright earlier in the week at Port Sports Zone. Thanks a lot, John Yu, for everything you've done. Brett had the week off this past week. He had some things going on, and it was one of those things where just tried to make some time with a few of the other commitments that we had, and so he got to meet Aiden Hutchinson, same situation, Pro Sports Zone. Thanks again, John Yu. Got to meet him. It was pretty cool. I got to take my oldest this time. It was pretty awesome. And obviously the game on Saturday, that was really good for our first foray. But, as we, before we get in any of that though, we got Beer League coming up around the corner, right?
Beer League right around the corner.
And we have ourselves a little stallions that we may be pulling ourselves here.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get our league coordinator Daryl on here. He was actually he was a big supporter of us at the beginning when we told him what we were gonna do. So, and he's definitely tried to help us out where he can. So yeah, we're definitely gonna bring him on. He is a ref and USA hockey ref too, so he'll have a little cool insight as far as the hockey team goes, especially like youth hockey and adult league hockey. But yeah, we're gonna bring our counter stallions in here. and we're pick his brain about the other teams, even though we all know everyone. So,
Well, I want to know exactly what we need to look out for because I'm looking to keep my goals against average below 5 this
I want
year.
to set our lineup. I'm going to stack that sub list, so when I see their lineup, I'm bringing in the guns.
Yeah, and better watch out. We got so many disguises this year. Like, you guys aren't even going to know what to look for. You think Central Michigan was the only one? Wait till you see what we got planned for.
But no, it's right around the corner. We've teased this a couple times. We are going to get a couple of our guys over here. We'll just do what we do in the locker room and in the bar after the game. We just sit around and bullshit with each other. So it's all fun talk. It's topics upon topics. It's a good time. So we'll have some guys on here. And we've had a few people that said, "Oh, I want to come on. I want to just sit there and just talk with you guys." So it's definitely coming. But we got season right around the corner, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. I'll probably be out the first couple of weeks due to slight injury I've given myself. But that's beside the point. We're not going to get into that.
I think we could.
No. I would leave it at that. Nope.
You're disappointing the fans.
I am not disappointing.
You're disappointing me.
No, I am not. No,
yes, you are.
That's a lie. Yeah, but
you see the disgust on my face?
As team mom, I'll throw her Brooks garb on, and I'll even bring out the list.
Can it get any worse?
What do you mean?
Can it get any worse?
As far as
then put your gear on. Can't get any worse. What the hell are you sitting for? Put your gear on.
Oh, it's a long way from the heart, you candy ass.
That's right. You're gonna be team mom. You better lead this team.
I'm gonna come out her Brooks garb. I'm gonna grow my hair out a little bit so I can get the comb over on.
Perfect.
As well. I'm gonna have a whistle in my pocket. Whistle in my pocket.
Again.
If you guys play terrible, no, I don't care what the ring says. There's another game after. No,
don't worry. Tell him I'll lock up.
Let's go.
Tell him I'll lock it up. Call my dad. Hey, don't worry.
It's gonna be late. Like, don't worry, I got this.
Yeah, that's right.
But hockey season right around the corner, guys. So exciting season. Hockey season for us. Obviously, Ravens around the corner as well. We'll jump into them here soon.
Yep.
Obviously, we had the Lucas Raymond Mo Sider contract talk a couple weeks ago, but that's coming soon. Hopefully, that gets figured out as well as in the Red Wings front. But so we're gonna jump in. Obviously, college football has started. It started on Thursday night with Colorado and North Dakota State, and then it moved it. Michigan State was on Friday, and then we had just the main bulk of everything on Saturday, and then a very, very good game last night with LSU USC. But obviously our main focus is Michigan football. We were down in Pioneer parking lot and had a nice little tailgate. Thank you to FiberLink and Chad, who allowed us to join in on the tailgate and set up a little shop there, which is where we will be for the season. He invited us out for the whole year to come set up shop. And it was a great PR for us. That was fair. A lot of people came up to talk to us.
Yep.
And a lot of people even said, "Oh, I've heard of you guys," which was quite
really
surprising.
Yeah, and obviously, going forward has become a little more of a staple, right? Like, I mean, things will evolve a little bit, but I think we got a really good initial foray into doing those tailgates, and I'm looking forward to some of the things that we've been talking about implementing going forward. We've kind of talked about having running a show at the games with our DJ's got a setup that we can run and kind of bring in that show from afar. And so if you guys want to stop by and chat, just come stop by and chat. We'd love to have you. And that also goes for opposing fans too. Like, we'd love to hear your guys' side of things. Brett, you talked to a couple of the Fresno State fans this weekend. Go ahead and just let them know what you heard.
Just down the road, just down like a couple cars from us, there was a big group of them. And I did, whenever they walked by, I did grab a couple of them. Like, I was just curious because obviously Fresno's from California, and obviously that's a big haul to come up here and watch the game. And a lot of them were actually like family members of players on the team, but which is obviously very cool. But they said, like, when they look at their schedule, obviously they don't go to a lot of the road games, but they saw obviously it's Michigan. So I said, so what brought you to come to this game? And they were like, well, the Big House. It's the mecca of college football. We would want to come and experience it. And that they came on in a night game. Obviously, the game come off the national championship, so there's a little bit more buzz in the stadium for sure. But the overall atmosphere of the game was awesome. It was filled the entire game. Usually, it's like the first few games of the year, after halftime, it kind of clears out a little bit and such. But no, in the entire game, it was filled, and they had that cool light show start the fourth quarter, which is awesome. I forgot they were doing that, and it just happened. It was so cool.
Well, and they gave us everything we could handle. I mean, everybody seems to think, oh God, Michigan had a rough start. And and while I'll agree with you, there were several examples of them maybe not getting off to the start that they wanted. And obviously, Davis Warden, I don't think he played poorly by any stretch, but he definitely, I'm sure he could even tell himself that he could play a little better. And Alex Orji had a pass that was 5 yards short of his target. And, what I mean? So, like, everybody had some jitters, and in work, you could definitely tell the offensive line was a bit of a work in progress. But let's not forget, Fresno State won their conference last year.
We're going to take a quick moment here to honor our sponsors of today's episode. So we're going to start with Crystal Fieldhouse over in Burton, Michigan. It is our home of Beer League Sundays. If you ever want to do a birthday party, you want to do some public skates, some stick and puck, join an adult hockey league, get into some youth hockey league, or do some figure skating, go see Crystal Fieldhouse in Burton, Michigan. We thank you to Michelle for sponsoring us this coming year, and look for our smiling faces on some banners on both rinks this year.
Thank you to FiberLink Communications in Lapeer, Chad, Debbie, Tina, Joel, and the rest of the crew. Thank you so much. For Properties, Marco, Marissa, Martino, thank you so much for all your support. DCC Construction, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And also Winged Helmet Media, thank you, Chris, for being a part of this, man, and we're really looking forward to doing some things with you in the future. So, thank you all.
No, they didn't win the conference.
I'm sorry, they're division last.
But for the last 3 seasons, they have won a total of 29 games. They are one of the best group of 5 teams.
Yeah.
So I did see a ranking. Obviously, I'm on Twitter just for like sports stats and sports news and stuff. And I did see one that they are actually, I think they're ranked top 5 or top 7 as far as group 5 teams go.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely no slouch. And I even saw someone say like this very well could be Fresno State's only loss of the year. And that quarterback was good, man. He was agile. He made some great throws out there. And obviously, their defense also looked very, very good as well. They were quick. They were on the ball. They got in those gaps. Obviously, the O-line, Michigan's O-line struggled a little bit, because it was a whole new O-line, all new,
whole new offense, to a degree, and
pretty much.
And I know coming from the mood inside the stadium, I mean, there was definitely some times where you could hear the oh no feeling or the oh no moments, but I think Michigan's defense played pretty much as expected. We talked about this. I mean, Will Johnson got burned for a couple of throws, but I'll tell you what, both times he played sound defense. We talked about that, and the one particular throw, the one that they towards the end of the game, was an incredible catch, quite frankly, on the receiver.
Honestly, both of them were.
I mean, they were.
I mean, where we were sitting, we saw it happen, and I'm just like, Will Johnson was there. He was there. He had great coverage.
Yep.
It just that ball just fit in just perfectly, and obviously the receiver made a great catch. And there was only 2 of them.
Well, and it's not like he didn't make up for it at the end of the game, right?
Exactly.
And said, "No, night, let's go."
But yeah, he obviously, Fresno State definitely did put up a good fight. But another cool stat that this is Fresno State's lowest point totals in I think 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and
something like that.
And that's nothing to sniff at. I mean, they've played big teams over the years too. It's not like we're the only big team they've ever played. I mean, they played some big teams, and I think I think the Michigan offense will get better, obviously, as they gel and get a little more familiar with timing and such. But make no mistake about it, this Texas game is going to be a really big test.
Yeah. So I'll get into Davis Warren a little bit. Obviously, leading up until like the week prior to the game, everyone thought it was going to be Orji just because of like the role that he's played in the last couple of years, where he still would come in from time to time. But so I guess Davis Warren came out of nowhere, and he has a great story of how he came up too. So obviously he got leukemia when he was in high school, so he hasn't played a meaningful game since 2019. So this was his first game since 2019, and honestly, the first game jitters, he had a little bit. I wouldn't say he struggled, but you could definitely see he was adamant of not turning the ball over. Like he was trying to protect the ball, which he did it quite well at, aside from the one interception. But I'll get into that one here in just a second. I was saying, like, honestly, all the balls he was throwing, they were good throws.
Well, yeah, I think he looked really good, and a lot of them too. But there was a couple of them that were maybe left to be desired. But a couple of them, the receivers didn't do their job either.
Exactly. So on the interception, I did see like kind of someone commented on like a Twitter highlight was there. It yeah, the ball was underthrown, but at the same time, the receivers got to see that and try to make a play on the ball, which he didn't. He
Right.
just kept running his route, and
Right.
he allowed because he had the defender burned. He
Right.
had him,
Right.
but he allowed the defender to make a play on the ball and didn't contest it.
So too much hang time.
Yeah,
Was
well,
a big thing.
and you could tell by the way Warren threw it. It's just like that looks a little underthrown. I mean, it is what it is. It happens. But I mean, do you have three standout players from the game that really I would say, damn, like glad we have them.
Well, the first one, I mentioned this to you mid-game, I think it was, or maybe third quarter, but I was like, man, all we've done is hear Josiah Stewart's name all game. And
Oh yeah,
I mean, he just, he kept showing up, and whether it was, the sack or whether it was, the tackle for loss. I mean, it was just seemed like he was everywhere. And that's a welcome sight to see. Obviously, coming from Coastal Carolina, they had, actually a really good team there for a couple of years
they had that one really good year.
before coaching changes and everybody moved on and such. But, so he came from a program that won. He's played a lot of football. He came back, obviously, this year with a little something left to prove. He was a rotational guy last year with some big names. But, to be kind of the guy this year and to have him go out and do that in the first game was a sight to see. So I thought he played pretty well. I think, obviously I have to give Will Johnson with his nonstop complete run. I mean, the interception, I don't think he slowed down even an ounce. He just continued to run, and it was like, nope, that's my pass.
I saw it from the start when, like, the quarterback turned and he saw his receiver and he like locked him low to throw to him.
Yeah.
Will Johnson saw it right away.
Yeah.
And he couldn't have timed it any more perfect.
Yeah, and I think my third one is this linebacker everybody's heard about is Barnum. I think he really played. I think he played really well, and he was kind of all over too. I mean, he's a big body man. He's a big boy. You can see him from up there. I mean, he is a massive man, and I think he's going to have quite a year this year.
One of my guys, obviously, well, Colson Loveland did Colson Loveland things.
Right.
He did exactly what you expect him to. He had a great game. I think he had like 7 or 8 catches or something like that.
Yeah.
And that one touchdown that he had, I ran a great route, caught the crossing route midfield, and then rumbled and stumbled into the end zone, breaking tackles.
That was a lovely
He
play.
did that quite a few times where he would catch the ball and his yards after contact were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the guy in offense that I point to. The guy in offense that I point to that had a great game, Khalil Mullen.
Yes, he did.
Boy, he was chugging. When he's obviously not the fastest guy, but man,
Right.
can he
He can rumble.
hard.
Well, he's a runner.
Like,
He was a linebacker.
You made a great example, and I thought of another example too of like earlier Harbaugh years of a running back. And he runs like Haskins, not the fastest guy, but boy, you can't doubt their effort whatsoever.
Right.
But another guy that I think it looks like was Devion Smith.
Yeah, just big, strong, powerful backs, and and they're not gonna necessarily shoot a gap here and and be off like Blake Corum was, right? Like we were pretty lucky with that. But if you want to drag 3 defenders across that first down line, with 2 to go, these boys are gonna do it. And he did that several times. I mean, there was a couple of times we looked at each other like, holy crap, he dragged 3 dudes with him, and he just kept rumbling. I mean, he finished for almost 100 yards. Honestly, I mean, he ran the ball better than Donovan Edwards. And Donovan Edwards, for some reason, his usage was a little strange at times. They tried to run him between the tackles, which is it's not where that's not his game. And I understand him beating the feature back, but he's not a between the tackles guy. You got to get him in space, and he's a good receiver. Bubble screens, maybe quick slants. I mean, you can use him like that, right? Just get him the ball. But he didn't run very well Saturday. So I guess in that regard, I mean, he was not running back 1 that game.
No, Mullins definitely, I would say, put himself ahead a little bit as far as getting the most touches because of just the way he was running the ball the other night. But another player that definitely looked very, very well, and he obviously had his opportunities to show himself, and boy did he, was Dominic Zavada.
Oh man, he was good.
So he had I think it was 45, 53, and 55-yard field goals, and obviously he was 3, and then he was perfect on extra points as well.
Yeah.
But even those 50-plus field goals, man, he was getting them. Like, if you would have backed him up another 10 yards, he still would have got it, I think.
Well, unfortunately, he had to use his leg a lot. unfortunately. But that's going to happen. I mean, there was times where we had to rely on Jake Moody to win us the game, right? I mean, that Illinois game comes to mind when Blake Corum gets hurt, and en route to the Big Ten championship. So I mean, yes, you have to have a kicker, and he's been phenomenal so far. I believe he came from Arkansas State, which is obviously not a college as somebody would say, oh, he's got to be a great kicker. But hey, listen, he came as advertised so far to us, and again, it's game one, so we've got plenty of time to continue to evaluate that. But so far, so good. And look, at the end of the day, the media and the record does not care if you won by 1 or if you won by 100. At the end of the day, your record is what you are, and you win the game or you don't. And so if that means you win with your kicker for 3 weeks in a row, then you win with your kicker 3 weeks in a row. Obviously, it's not a full-time recipe for success, but it was good to see him come in, and honestly, he kept us in there. I mean, remember looking at you and going, man, I'd love to have touchdowns right now, but at the same time, it's still points. Who keeps the pressure on the other team to continue to put points up to keep up. And so, I mean, in that regard, I mean, that was very, very useful, of course.
So one thing I want to talk about the offense as well is obviously we'll go with Davis Warren, where a lot of his throws were just little check down throws, little 5 to 10 yarders here and there. You didn't see the down the field ball too much from him. Obviously, he had the one down the field ball that did get intercepted with a little underthrow. And then there was the one, I think it was his best throw all night. And it was Tyler Morris going up the sideline, burned his defender on a great route. But then I guess he was saying he lost sight of the ball in the light. So he kind of slowed up a little bit. But Davis Warren put that ball on the money. If Morrison doesn't slow down slightly, he catches that ball and he's straight to the end zone. But it was not the money throw. But Davis Warren finished 15 for 25 with 118 yards with one touchdown, one interception. Albeit, obviously, as Michigan has done in the past, they really don't do anything flashy in these first few games. They bring out the flashy stuff when it matters. So obviously, I would like to see more dynamic play calling next week against Texas. Obviously, you're going to need it. Yep. But so hopefully that does come. But who knows? Honestly, who knows? Hopefully the defense will keep them in the game as well. Michigan very well could win the game, but if they definitely come out a little bit sluggish like they did on Saturday, it might not be pretty, but who knows? I don't know.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that, I think we've talked about before, but if Michigan loses the game to Texas on Saturday, it needs to be a close game, for their playoff hopes and stuff. And not that this loss necessarily would kill their season. But when you factor in playing Oregon, and obviously we spoke of a USC team that looked pretty good against LSU overall. They've got a quarterback for sure. And then obviously the team down south. There's obviously going to be some opportunity there for them to slip up, and so you don't want to do that early. And obviously a statement win against Texas early in the year would do probably wonders for this team. And probably the media base.
The dynamic of the season, honestly. Because this is obviously one of those games that when we talked about it previously, that it will, that may or may not set the tone for the season. It doesn't kill your season by any means, but it definitely could set the tone as far as the rest of the season goes.
Well, yeah, and they need to win just as much as we do, right? So they know that if they lose 2 games, it puts them in a tough spot. They could still get in, but they definitely don't want to lose to us in week 2. We have the advantage of being at home. That's gonna help a lot. But make no mistake about it, Texas is a good team. Texas is a little bit more veteran-laden team, but doesn't mean that we're not matched up very well with them talent-wise. We just, have a lot of new pieces that are trying to figure it out, and sometimes it's a little baptism by fire.
So overall, 30-10 win for the Wolverines. Pulled away in the fourth quarter. Obviously, it was a great game. It was definitely a great game to watch. But 30-10 win, still a W. Most Michigan fans expected, but you and I were talking before the games. It's definitely not going to be a slouch game. They definitely can't take it easy. So, but good victory nonetheless. On to Texas.
Yeah, and we are very excited. College game day is coming out, and we're actually going to be stationed really close to them. So you guys could definitely come check us out. We're going to be there bright and early when they open, so we'll be set up nice and early if you guys want to come and chat. But we're really excited to see what we can do, and like I said, it's a very good measuring stick as we talked about.
So we'll talk a little bit more about the college football world in general. So we'll start Thursday. We'll start on Thursday with one of the more popular teams as far as ESPN goes. Colorado, North Dakota State on Thursday. Colorado did come away with the victory, but that was a good game.
Yep.
Very good game. I'm not the personal biggest fan of Colorado because they really just aren't, in my opinion, they really just aren't that good the way they get hyped up to be.
Right.
But I don't really have much else to say. I mean, Travis Hunter is obviously he's a dog. He's a great player. And then Shedeur Sanders, he's a good quarterback, but they definitely hype him up a lot more too as well. So
Deion hypes that up just because he's Deion and needs to be in the spotlight all the time, and and that's just who he is, and that's never changed since his days in the pros, and and obviously as we talked about, he was a good player, did a lot of good things, but he's hyping up the Colorado team that was 4-8 last year. I mean, nothing wrong with being confident, but I don't know. I mean, based on what we saw against NDSU, I don't know if they're any better than they were last year.
Well, obviously North Dakota State is obviously no slouch as well.
Correct.
Especially they are dominant at the FCS level, but
right.
But still, yeah, no, I'm with you. They're definitely in a more favorable conference for them to succeed. That's for sure. Because they don't have to go through Oregon now. They don't have to go through USC. They don't have to go through Washington. So
right.
Yeah, they definitely have a more favorable schedule now.
Correct.
So we'll see. We shall see. Well, we'll jump into some Big Ten talk here. So the Big Ten as a whole actually had a very good week one. I think there was only one loss. I think there was only one loss amongst the Big Ten teams in week one.
Yep.
And that was Minnesota to North Carolina. North Carolina is a good team. So
that came down pretty close to the end.
It was a 19-17 game, and Minnesota missed the field goal as the time expired as well.
Right.
But other than that, yeah, Big Ten as a whole looks very good week one. Obviously, not many of them played the top talent.
No.
Obviously, Penn State took care of West Virginia.
That Oregon game was close.
Yeah, Wisconsin played a close game against Western Michigan. Let's see, run through here.
Iowa putting up 40 on Illinois State, but Iowa putting up 40 in general. I mean, remember you said it. You talked to one of the fans we were walking by. I remember you saying that was the biggest surprise was Iowa put up 40 points in general. They don't usually do that until the fifth game of the season.
UCLA struggled a little bit with Hawaii. I'm not too knowledgeable about how Hawaii's been looking the last few years, so not. But I would say the statement win for the Big Ten was USC taking care of LSU last night, Sunday the 1st. Yeah, so that was the statement win for the Big Ten this week. USC looked damn good. We'll jump into that game here in a second, but we'll just go down a chronological order of date here. So the first Big Ten game, I'm pretty sure it was Thursday. So Rutgers and Minnesota and Illinois all played on Thursday, and Friday
Rutgers,
we'll jump.
By the way, is Herb Street's pick to be in the college football playoff.
That's wild, but
they started off with a 44-7 win over Howard. I mean, let's talk about it. Big Ten champions, here they come.
But we'll jump into our Michigan counterpart in
little brother
in the Big Ten. I didn't say it; he said it. But 16-10 win over Florida Atlantic for Sparty. I was watching the game. An interesting game to watch. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Michigan State definitely gave Florida Atlantic every opportunity to take that game. Every opportunity, and if Florida Atlantic had played a bit of a better offense, they would have done it.
I definitely wouldn't take the over,
over on turnovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked like it was definitely a tough start for Sparty in their new era of the Jonathan Smith era. So, but they did get the win. So, hats to them. They did get the win.
10.
But you could definitely tell they got some. They definitely have some rust. They didn't score a point in the second half.
Well, that's all right. They didn't score a point against us at all last year. So, I mean, that sounds about right. So, it doesn't sound like a lot's changed here.
So,
I'll take a half off. If they want to take a half off and score points every year, that's cool.
We'll see how their season rolls out. Definitely struggle in the first game of the year, but that's all really I have to say about that. I'm not going to dig into them.
What do you think of team down south win over Akron? They're 52-6.
Well, the first half was close. It was only 17-3 at half.
Started up 3-0.
Yeah, Akron was giving it to them pretty good in that first half. But then they just opened the doors in the second half.
I remember following that Oregon game too, and that was tight the whole way to the end.
Ohio State definitely, did Ohio State things, and they pulled away.
Yep.
So, that score was to be expected, in my personal opinion. But, yeah, the biggest surprise was Oregon with Idaho. Obviously, Idaho has not really been the best team in recent memory. So, yeah, and then, obviously, Oregon's number 3 in the country. They're supposed to be one of the top dogs, national championship contender, and only a 10-point victory.
It was a 3-point game late in the fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Yep.
incredible. I'm thinking, holy mackerel, we might have ourselves an upset here. We might not have to beat Texas next week. Or guy goes out and lays an egg like that.
So, but it's, albeit with all these teams, they have the talent to definitely be one of the top teams. So, and it's only game one.
Right.
Everyone's going to work out their kinks.
Right.
A lot of teams struggled week one because with so much turnover in college football nowadays,
right,
you're not getting much of like the same momentum as the year prior because a lot of people, obviously, there's the transfer portal, the draft, and such. So you're definitely fielding either new units on defense or offense or special teams, whatever, every single year. You don't really have a lot of like carryover into the next year or so. But I think they'll be just fine. Oregon will be just fine. I definitely don't see them really slipping up at all. So I mean, they will be in the 12-team playoff. They will be.
Well, I don't know if you caught too, and this was not Big Ten related. Did you guys see the Nick Saban dancing on college game day to the old "Take Me Home"?
I did not.
Man, they had him just a scooting up there, and I'll tell you what, he had mentioned he was having a lot of fun. He looks like he's having a lot of fun. I think the last couple years of NIL and a lot of the changes with the portal and stuff really put a strain on coaches like Dabo Swinney, which we talked about. His team's falling off the mat because he won't change. Nick Saban, same thing. I mean, a lot of these guys, if you don't embrace it, then you're not going anywhere. And Saban still was going places from a lot of nostalgia alone, but you could tell he's having a ton of fun now, and that's awesome to see. And it's not like DeBoer's a bad coach to put there. I mean, he's done some good things at his other stops, and so I think Alabama will be fine. But yeah, I think it was super funny to watch. I mean, and then Pat McAfee, for God's sake, was pulling his shirt off, and he didn't look like he loved that too much. Saban did not seem to be super thrilled with that. But with Pat, I mean, you never know what you're going to get.
It is cool to see some of these like coaches when they end up retiring and they go into these like commentating roles and such.
Yep.
You see a whole new light of them. Obviously, like you definitely see like a newer like Urban Meyer. You see a different person of Urban Meyer on Fox, and now you're seeing Nick Saban, where it does look like he's having a great time. He loves just sitting around with the guys, just talking football.
Yep.
So it's really cool to see some of these guys in a whole different light.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously the only media that you see when they're coaching is what they want you to see. It's the generic questions. Well, what could you have done better, or how did you guys win the game? So you see the repeated questions and answers week in and week out, and and to be able to see, hey, I'll tell you what I did, this weekend, like that kind of stuff is just kind of funny because you don't get a lot of that personal talk with somebody like Nick Saban, who's arguably been probably the best coach in college for the last several years.
Definitely one of the best coaches ever.
Correct.
But we'll jump into the premier Big Ten game of the week. USC taking down LSU in the neutral site game in Las Vegas last night, 27-20. USC came back in the fourth quarter there. They scored in the last, I think, 6 minutes to take the victory there. But we got to talk about their quarterback, which under Lincoln Riley is to no surprise whatsoever. But this guy, Miller Moss, he's been the backup. He's just been waiting his turn. He's not a transfer in. He's not a true freshman. He's been waiting. He's a junior. He's been just waiting his turn, and he got his turn. And did he have a game last night? 378 passing yards, 27 for 36, so 75% completion percentage against LSU.
Yeah, and they were no pushover. They were having a game of their own.
And obviously, like to no surprise being a Lincoln Riley team, of course. But
and their defense played well.
And obviously, given USC's ranking, everyone's kind of thought the same thing. Obviously, Caleb Williams is gone, and obviously they just had some meh years over the past couple of years. But now, after that win last night, obviously, like it is week one, but that still definitely puts USC a little bit on the map there of just like, hey, we're still here, guys.
Yeah, think they're ranked for sure.
Oh, they are ranked.
Yeah.
They're
but
23.
But I mean, like, obviously, where do you see them after that win there?
They jumped 5 to 10 spots on top of that.
So you think 15 to 18, something like that?
Maybe even higher.
Okay.
I could see between 10 and 15 now.
Really?
Because
LSU, they still in? They back in?
They beat a team that's technically ranked 10 spots higher than them.
Yeah.
It was a neutral site game. Obviously, if they went into LSU and won, it would be different. It would be a bigger, for sure, definitely bigger. But obviously, if you go into the rankings, I definitely see Michigan dropping probably a little bit. Oregon,
Really?
one or two.
Okay.
One or two. Oregon may drop a little bit because Texas looked good, Alabama looked good, Ole Miss
State's
looked
gonna
very
drop.
good, Notre Dame had a good win. So I definitely see Oregon getting a little bit of a dip there. Michigan will probably dip. Florida State's definitely dipping.
Clemson got mollywopped.
Clemson's going to be gone.
Miami beat Florida.
Miami's going to jump.
Florida.
Miami's going to jump, but I definitely do.
A&M's going to hang. I think they stay in because
they're going to stay in, but they're going to drop.
They played a tight game against Notre Dame.
NC State didn't look the best either. So USC's definitely going to jump. I would say 10
definitely
spots.
stay in the 25, obviously, with a 40-0 win over Illinois State.
But
congrats to Cade, too, by the way. Nice work. I'm coming back from ACL surgery. Sounds like you had a pretty good game.
But Georgia, doing Georgia things, clear cut number one. It's no question now, 1,000%. Given that nice little slap to Clemson, it's like, yeah, sorry, you're not on this level anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, and obviously Georgia never has gone anywhere. You know, they might lose a game or maybe two a year, but it's usually to Alabama. It's usually in the national championship, right? Like they don't lose much. And so to expect them to go anywhere under Kirby Smart is ridiculous because they're going to always be there. You know, they're a damn good team, and they proved that again right out of the gate.
Yeah. So yeah, Georgia clear cut number one. I think at this point given the votes, it should be unanimous. A 34-3 victory week one over a fellow ranked team.
Yeah.
But let's talk about their neutral site game an hour away from their campus.
We've talked about
and they
this
always
before.
get that. They always get the Atlanta neutral site game. It's like, that's not neutral site. Send them to Cowboy Stadium. Send them to Vegas.
Send them to Detroit. Send them to Ford Field. You know, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Send them to a cold state sometime and see what happens. Like to play a playoff game neutral site and it's an hour, like that's just crazy to me. When everybody else has to come to you, that's just not cool. And it's not what the neutral site venue is all about. But you know, I think overall it was a solid college football weekend. Not a ton of surprises. I mean, a couple, but not a ton. You know, aside from, you know, the Colorado State almost losing was interesting. Florida State getting their pants blown off from Georgia Tech was pretty interesting. You know, I think they only had 13 total possessions, something like that, which is like the lowest in like 40 years. It was pretty wild. You know, so overall, I mean, there was just a ton of like what we had expected. But yeah, I mean, looking forward to see, you know, what goes on next week.
But now we're on to NFL. NFL starts this Thursday, so that's going to be our second episode drop this week. We'll talk about the Lions, their upcoming season. We'll talk a little bit more about the NFL as well. So, but that'll be coming on the other episode this week. So stay tuned for that. So now we're gonna wrap it. We're nearing the end here. So it's Brett's favorite time where I actually give him a trivia question and I pick his brain a little bit. But this one, I feel like it's a little bit more friendly. It's a little bit more friendly.
Yep, feeling the love already.
So I am going to name some movie sports characters, and you got to tell me what movie it's from.
Oh, Lord, come on.
We're going to start easy to hard.
Let's do it.
I'm going to give you I'm going to see how you do. And that depends on how many I give you.
Oh, boy.
So
this should be a short game, folks.
So I'm going to start. Number one, Craig Patrick.
Miracle on Ice.
There you go. 1 for 1. Rick Vaughn.
Rick Vaughn? I don't know.
Really?
No.
No way.
Who's Rick Vaughn?
Wild Thing. Major League.
I've never seen it. Yeah, call me a.
I wish you could see my face. I'm giving them right now.
Yeah, I've never seen it, so that's why I don't know who that is.
So I won't give you another Major League one then.
That's fair. Appreciate that. Not going to be impressed, I'll tell you that much.
Mike Winchell.
I don't know who that is.
Dude.
Who's that?
Friday Night Lights quarterback.
That's true. Yeah, I have seen the movie. I just put the name together. Okay.
Would you have gotten Boobie Miles?
Yes, I probably would have. Yeah.
Or Don Billingsley?
Yeah, but Mike, and I did not get Mike. Sorry about
that. So he's 1 for 3 right now, and they are going to get harder. So this is
I don't know if they should.
For him. All right, I'll give him a layup here.
Yeah.
Reggie Dunlop.
No.
Dude.
Yeah, this is not a good thing.
Slap shot. Player coach Reggie Dunlop.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Steve Hansen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Are you a movie guy at all?
No, not really. Not particularly.
I feel like if you did, you dip into the sports movies though.
Yeah, I would. I mean, again, I've watched Mighty Ducks. I've watched Slapshot. I've watched On Ice.
Okay.
I've watched,
All
I've
right.
watched all these, but it's like, it's been a long time.
All right. So, Fulton Reed.
I don't know. Fulton Reed.
You gotta be kidding. You just said you've seen the movie.
Okay, but that doesn't mean I remember every
Mighty
character.
Ducks.
Okay, it doesn't mean I remember every character in every movie.
was-
I think
I
that
was
this
gonna
is
give
a
you-
bad question for me.
I thought this would be a lot
Fail.
easier for
Well,
you.
you thought wrong. Trivia is not good.
Okay.
Trivia no bueno.
So, fine. I'll give you the Michigan football one time to make it easier.
Okay.
What was Brady Hope's record in his first season as Michigan football coach?
I think it was 10-2.
11-2.
11-2. Okay. I was close.
What
I knew
bowl
he
did
did well
they play in?
with Rich Rod's guys is what everybody
Yep.
used to say. Yeah.
What bowl did they play in? And who did they beat in that season?
Orange Bowl, Florida.
Sugar Bowl, Virginia Tech.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I actually thought the movie one was easy. Sorry.
yeah, that's okay. Trivia's not my thing. So I will say we should probably think of better questions. 'Cause that was
I
terrible.
thought that was a good one.
What you thought?
I thought it was a good one. My bad. But so yeah, well, we're gonna wrap it up a little bit. Obviously, we will be back at the tailgate, Michigan tailgate, this coming Saturday against Texas.
Right.
We'll be in the similar spot. We won't be far from game day.
Come say hi.
We'll have the kind of same setup. Yeah, if you
DJ again.
if you want to come by and talk with us,
Music
like
request.
some people had, we definitely will sit there and talk with you about 5 to 10 minutes and get your insight what's going on and Michigan football, sports world, whatever you want to talk about.
Yep. Also, don't forget.
No politics though.
Don't forget.
We're not
though,
going down that road.
We're giving away our Arkansas State tickets. So not this week. Obviously, this week is Texas. The week after is Arkansas State, and we're giving away our tickets for that game as part of this raffle that'll be announced on Winged Helmet, the podcast on Wednesday. They have a live fan-led show, and they're going to announce the winner on that show. So we do have some merchandise if you guys would like. It is $10 per shirt or hat. And, each purchase gets you 10 entries. If you like and share our page, that'll get you another entry apiece. So, you guys, you got some time before Wednesday's show if you'd like. But let's make sure that we go out and support both sides, right? Like Winged Helmet has done a lot for us, and we appreciate everything they've done. Obviously, everybody loves a good raffle.
So we want to thank you guys for tuning in to another week of Mid-State Sports Corner. Want to know for the Michigan Wolverines episode coming later this week. We'll talk to Lions, maybe dip into hockey a little bit, or some other football news. But yeah, thank you for tuning in for another week. Let's go Blue. Let's go Lions. Let's go Red Wings. Let's go Tigers. Let's go Pistons.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it, and have yourself an awesome week.
All right. Have a great week, guys.